I hope you're all having a wonderful weekend. So I'm filming this right now on Saturday, but I don't think you're going to get it on Saturday night, so I'm going to say happy Sunday. The reason being is I am off to Arundel yet again with the in-laws. We're going out for a family get-together and a meal in town. So as most of you know that follow me on a regular basis, Arundel is one of the places that I like to go to. They've got a really cool clothes shop there called Fanny Adams, so I'm off to go spend some money, much to my husband's delight. Some of you have been asking after my mum. She's doing absolutely fine. She's gone super crazy. You know that she is a Christmas fiend. Well, I know I shouldn't say that. It's like swearing. Still October, nobody panic. But my mum has gone nuts for Halloween and autumn decorations now. This is something that's come over from America and I believe it is becoming more popular. It's beautiful, it's lovely. Autumn and autumnal colours are amazing. But my mum has obviously, you know, she's making her display. Not quite to the extreme of the Christmas decorations, which of course you will get your annual video of my mother's decorations because they do change every single year. As for the dogs, they're doing great, but it's fireworks season and I, like many of you guys, have got pets. It's horrible. I would absolutely sign up to any campaign where you take the bang out of fireworks. A lot of children are terrified of the noise. A lot of adults, you've got people with PTSD, ex-army veterans, elderly people, the wildlife nature. We like fireworks for the, oh, they're pretty. We do not need the bang in this day and age. So I really wish if anyone wants to start a campaign, I will promote it on this channel. Let's get it voted on in Parliament because my pets are literally almost having seizures every single year because you've always got that one idiot that likes to set off fireworks just randomly. So that's enough about me and mine. I hope all of you and your families are doing well. So let's get on with it. Mike Tyndall has arrived in Australia, getting ready for I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Again, there are still people going, why are Harry and Meghan not allowed to do this and that, but Mike Tyndall can? Because he is not in line to the throne. He is not taxpayer funded. He is not, nor has he ever been a working royal. He has married a member of the royal family. He is not a royal himself. And as I said videos ago, he was a whole person with a very good sporting career behind him. So all of those people just need to go. Now, speaking of titles and being in line to the throne, on the 9th of December, there is the second, I guess, sit-down chat about giving King Charles the right to remove titles. This is something that came up, I believe, in June, and they had the first discussion, and then it got tabled until the 9th of December because obviously everything that's gone on with the monarchy, the changing of hands. And I believe it might come round to taking the dukedom definitely off of Prince Andrew, because I know the City of York no longer want the association. And I can tell you now from a person that is Sussex, and from my genealogy, my roots are Sussex as well. There's lots of people that do not want them having the association to our great and beautiful county. But obviously I don't speak for everyone and I never say that I do. But I think it's the majority of us. Now, speaking of King Charles, old Charlie has become the Captain General of the Royal Marines. Now, Princess Anne was tipped to take over this role. I think I would have supported that 100%. It would have been wonderful to have the first woman to take over the role. But Harry was a break in tradition anyway, because the position had always been given to the kings, with the exception of Prince Philip, who obviously was the monarch's husband. The honour was originally bestowed upon King George V, which was Queen Elizabeth's grandfather, swiftly and briefly moving to her uncle King Edward, who abdicated the throne to marry Wallis Simpson, another American divorcee. And then we had obviously the Queen's father, King George VI, and then it passed to Prince Philip. Now, obviously, he was the first non-king to hold the title, but he was the monarch's husband. But then they broke in tradition and they gave it to Harry again, following in the footsteps of his uncle Edward. He betrayed the monarchy and, it would seem, the Royal Marines. This is a subject that lots of people bring up because he was given this huge honour, only being bestowed on kings and the monarch's husband before him, and Harry chose to ditch going to a memorial concert in Dill for 11 Marines that had lost their lives in an IRA attack, so he could take Meghan to pimp her for voiceover work for Disney. So that is something that I don't think is ever going to be forgotten. So as much as Harry is kicking up about, oh, the uniform, the army, everything meant so much to me, the proof is in the pudding on that particular instance. So the fact that it has come back round to King Charles, I totally support it. I don't think that Harry was ever ready or mature enough to have such a responsible role, as thus proved. Now, speaking of maturity, this is something that Harry quite clearly is lacking in abundance. His book, tipped to be not about the prince that he was born, but the man that he has become. Signed off by Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex. Can he not see the irony in that, having his title across the book? So the title of the book has garnered a bit of attention, to say the least, because he's called it The Spare, or just Prince Harry Spare. And spare us as a hashtag has been started up on Twitter. And it's true, spare us, spare the world from more of your moaning. People have said to me, will I be buying the book for research purposes? Not on your life. No way on God's earth. The reason being is because that money will go into Harry's hands, and that I am dead against, because I do not believe the book will be truthful, and I will not forget what he did to the Queen in her final years. So no, he doesn't deserve a penny. Plus the fact, anyone else who's thinking of buying it just for keepsake, it's up to you. But I would personally wait a couple of weeks until it's come out, because it will be in the bargain bins very, very swiftly, which I'll come to shortly in the video. But just by being called The Spare, it's ridiculous. It's so petty. This is meant to be Harry, the man he become, but it's like jealousy still, because he was the spare and not the heir. Harry was never a spare part. He was a much loved child. He wasn't born so just in case anything happened to William, he would be little more than the replacement and then swiftly forgotten. This is the kind of image that Harry is trying to sell, and it's not fair. He was brought up and he was loved by two loving parents, loving grandparents, loving aunties and uncles and cousins that he grew up with. Harry never had to want for anything, and he grew up in a family that adored him. If anything, Harry was spoilt rotten because he was second in line to the throne, because William got to do special things which could be perceived by a child, but in fact William was just being trained to be king. But of course he would have to go off and do things with, with the Queen and his father that Harry wasn't. So Harry was spoilt rotten. Now, one thing where Meghan and Harry are two peas in a pod, you can quite clearly see this is the result. Parents out there, if you never say no to your children and you spoilt them rotten, if you do not teach them value and consequences and punishment for doing things wrong, it's not all this modern day parenting where you can only reward them but never say anything negative, because they turn into these. They turn into people like Harry and Meghan, who are petulant, ungrateful, ungracious. They do not see the value in anything, and most importantly, they don't ever see how lucky they were by being born into the families that they were. They were loved, they were given every opportunity. Meghan herself, all right, she wasn't born into royalty, but let's not pretend it was a rags to riches orphan Annie story. So the book says it's Harry's words, Harry's story, obviously forgetting the ghostwriter, who is J.R. Mooringer. Now, I get the fact he's a ghostwriter, but let's talk about him, because he actually wrote Andre Agassi's biography as well, the American ex-world #1 who actually had, a decent story to tell. And the thing is, with Andre, Harry has done a very similar cover with two differences. One, as you can see here from the cover, Andre Agassi has not cut off his hairline. He has embraced the fact that he has got a receding hairline. Harry has deliberately chopped it so you don't see the top of his head. I find that a bit comical. There's absolutely nothing wrong with going bald, and there are lots of bald sexy men out there. Harry, however, is not on my list of balding sexy men at all. And another thing that he's done, which is notable here, he's got that glow above his head, very similar to Meghan's Variety magazine, where it's almost saintly. It's like halos above them. They're coming down to earth, being the messiahs that they are to save us all. And yeah, there's just something just really cringeworthy about it. And also, when you compare the two covers here of Andre and Harry, one big noticeable difference, which is actually quite sad, you can see a soul in Andre's eyes. I'm sorry, Harry looks dead behind the eyes. In fact, Harry is probably better being compared to this photograph of Meghan from the Cut magazine. They both look vengeful. There is some sort of smug arrogance behind those eyes. It's all about revenge, and they just look bitter. Meghan can have her face Photoshop and have enough starry clouds and, different filters put across it, but I believe this was more of the true Meghan, and I believe this is more of the true Harry. So that's something that at least the publishers have managed to portray correctly. Now, as for the blurb for the book, hold on to your hats for this one. This book will inspire and encourage millions of people all around the world. Wow, that is an overinflated sense of ego, isn't it? Harry's story will inspire millions of people around the world. It might inspire people to make sure that they marry the right partner, and when their friends and their families say, red flag, you actually pay attention. Harry's highly anticipated, professional, highly anticipated memoir is to be released on the 10th of January, a day after Catherine, the Princess of Wales' birthday. Well done, Harry. That's another birthday of Catherine's that you've overshadowed because everyone will be leaking it. He's such a little bugger, considering that she absolutely loved and adored Harry and they had a close bond. Some might say it's to do with the anniversary of Megxit, but he just doesn't give a toss about his family at all. Again, thus proven with the fact that Harry's delay to the book was supposed to be about respect for the Queen and toning down stuff. Well, sources have said no, he was just adding more stuff into it of how he was maligned and cruelly treated, along with naturally Meghan, in the aftermath of the Queen's passing and the run up to the funeral. Yeah. So that tells you absolutely everything of what tone this book is going to take if the cover didn't really give it away. Sources have also confirmed that no one is spared in this book. Harry is going to attack his entire family. So again, when people were trying to compare, but Mike Tyndall's going on I'm a Celebrity, why can't Harry release a book and make his own money? Because he's going to lie and attack his family for a paycheck. If you can't see what is wrong with that, then I think there's something morally wrong with you. Now, the saddest thing in all of this is what everyone can see with a brain cell is Meghan will one day leave Harry, or Harry might one day leave Meghan. He does have quite a big ego on him himself, unlike Prince Edward, who was a puppy dog continuously to Wallis throughout their relationship. It was actually how their relationship started. He was a very, very weak man. But Harry did have a life before Meghan, and I hope one day he does wake up and see that he can have a life again. But this book, if he does attack his family, he's done. He is done. I'm sorry. I think now if Harry and Meghan, and I don't wish it on anyone, they do have 2 young children, but you know, if they divorce, his family will love him and they will help him come back. Harry attacks them one more time, attacks Queen Camilla, King Charles, Catherine, William. I don't see them ever allowing him back. I mean, I think he is really walking a tightrope with what he did to the Queen in the final years. Many of the public believe that Harry hastened the Queen's death, and the amount of stress that he caused her. On top of Andrew, I'm not letting him get away with it, but I can imagine that the hurt and pain and embarrassment that he caused the Queen with playing all these silly games and trivial attacks definitely weighed down on her heart. This is where, like I said in the beginning of the video, people are hoping that if that is passed in Parliament, I can't see why it shouldn't be, that Charles can look to strip in the dukedoms. As I said, Andrew and Harry were born princes. I don't think that will ever be taken away from them, nor will it be their positions in the line of succession. But the dukedoms, I don't believe that they deserve them. Bearing in mind, Harry's dukedom was given as a wedding gift because Harry and Meghan had convinced the Queen that they were going to be full-time working royals. They were going to dedicate their life to service. Remember, Meghan was going to hit the ground running. They'd already set up Oprah pretty much before the wedding. So they had no intentions of staying. So as far as I am concerned, and I know many other people feel, they took those titles under false pretenses. They wanted the titles so they could run away to America and set up their own royal courts. Anyone that believes that Meghan really made effort is, as I said before, I've got some toasted ice I can sell you. The cover of Harry's book looks very much defiant, arrogant, bitter, jealous, and I think this is further proved with the fact that he will not give the royal family a copy of the book in advance to the release. Now, this is one of 2 reasons. One, I think it's because it's Meghan's way of saying that she's in control. Oh, sorry, did I say Meghan? I meant it's Harry's way of saying that he's in control. Or secondly, it's more to do with the royal family getting their lawyers involved and stopping the book being released, because they're going to sue him for all of the lies, which we know he is going to tell. How do I know that Harry's going to lie? Because he lied on Oprah. Harry knew about titles. He knew the reason why Archie didn't have a title when he was born. He knows there is no royal racist in his family. He knows how much Meghan was supported and welcomed by his entire family, and he allowed his wife to lie on Oprah, and he didn't correct it, and he joined in on it, even attacking his sister-in-law Catherine. And I think it's absolutely disgusting, especially when the truth came out from Tom Bower's book that Meghan had been very unkind to his niece, a child, a baby. Listen to those words. What sort of woman bullies a 3-year-old toddler? That, to me, is absolutely twisted, and Harry has been part and parcel because he has allowed it. All of the things that Meghan has said and done, Harry has been behind her, he's been backing her, and that, to me, is the ultimate betrayal to his family. Harry has lost the ability to tell the truth, thus again proved by recently saying that he hadn't even heard of therapy. He never thought that he'd ever talk about therapy. But it was only JP Morgan's speech where he confessed on a stage to bankers and JLo that he'd been in therapy for 7 or more years. Harry is at a point where I believe he is truly brainwashed. And another thing that people have pointed out, Harry has not been the spare since, well, Prince William's children were born. Harry is definitely not even close to being the spare. And as I said, a spare is something that's useful, that if anything goes wrong, you can replace what you've lost or broken with the spare. There's no way that you can replace anyone with Harry. I don't mean to be mean, but even now, I mean, it doesn't take a great tragedy to happen to the royal family, but even with the Councillors of State position, how can Harry turn up somewhere on behalf of the king and speak for the king? He can't. He's not trusted. He's not liked. He's betrayed king, queen and country. So Harry's book is supposedly written in Meghan's own words. Oh, whoops, have I done that again? In Harry's own words. There we go, Harry with his little crayon pack. But, you know, this story, Harry's story, they are saying, again, this is obviously the publishers, that it will be raw and unflinching honesty. That is a joke in itself because Harry is not honest anymore. He has lost the ability to even remember what his childhood was like. How can I speak for Harry? I don't need to because Harry has spoken out many times before in books, in interviews, TV programs. You can see the old Harry. Here you go. Here's a little bit from a video that I forgot I did last year and it's been doing the rounds again on social media. Harry is completely reinventing his history and all you've got to do is look at this. And this was Harry's transformation from his childhood, how he grew up with his family, with his father, with Catherine, with his brother, with his friends, with, you know, his cousins. And then he turned into this. And everyone is suddenly believing that Harry had this traumatic childhood. No one loved him. He was little more than a spare, cruelly maligned, living in his brother's shadow. And it took Meghan to save him. Meghan was the woman that stopped him from being trapped. I would say proof is in the pudding. Now, I'm not the only one that's being super cynical of this book coming out because Amazon, Waterstones and even WH Smith have already slashed it by 50%. The book came out, greedy git, priced at £28 for the hardcover, and it's now been reduced to 14. Bearing in mind it's 3 months before the release date. I think people are waking up to how much Harry is truly disliked because they've just released the book for pre-sales, and I don't think they're getting the pre-sales numbers that they wanted. So I'd imagine we're going to see a video of Meghan propping up her desk next time with Harry's book alongside hers. I hope they've got a big garage. Now, like the title I used for this video, it should be called Spite. This book is not about Harry being a spare. This is not Harry talking about the love that's going to inspire the world that he had for his mother. This book is going to be about revenge. And there is going to be so much in that where it's going to be Meghan who has got involved to counteract Valentine Lowe and Tom Bower. Watch this space. So like I said at the beginning of the video, spare us. Because let's be honest, when we hear Harry speak now, it's Meghan's voice that you hear. So just to finish up the video, let's talk about Harry's wife, because I can imagine Harry and Meghan are in competition in Montecito, smashing plates like they're at a Greek restaurant. Because Harry, with Captain General of the Royal Marines, with his book being absolutely savagely panned. And then Meghan has also had some bad news called to light. And that is, people have worked out how you can view downlikes on YouTube videos. And Meghan's latest variety interview that she did, that's on YouTube, had 2,600 likes and 1,800 dislikes. And that was just at the time that Danielle Elsa had printed her article, which was the 26th of October. So I can imagine it's a lot worse. Now, if you do want to laugh after watching this video, I suggest going onto that video and just reading the comments. Savage. Now, speaking of savage, there has been quite the put down from Howie Mandel. Yes, of course, still in the fallout to do with Meghan's deal or no deal attack that she used on her podcast titled Bimbo, calling out the bimbo, where lots of people have spoken out and said she's completely fibbing. Woo! Princess Pinocchio strikes again. Howie has spoken out and said how he can actually understand why Meghan felt like that. He's come to her defence in a way. He says, I get it. I felt like nothing, and that's why I moved on and became a judge on America's Got Talent. I just need to be more than a Deal or No Deal host. I've never said this before, but they had this pyramid of 26 beautiful, intelligent women standing there, staring at me like I was a piece of meat. I was in the centre, just dressed in a suit, and I felt I am more than this. So for all of the people that have ever said Americans don't understand sarcasm, I truly beg to differ. Well done, Howie. Well done. So that's it for this video, guys. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you very soon. Bye.
If you would like to buy me a coffee, please go to my About page and click the link. Love, Taz.